This is the easiest question to answer yes, Ms. McGill. So is your testimony that you will not answer yes?
If the
yes or no?
If the speech becomes conduct, it can be harassment. Yes.
Conduct meaning committing the act of genocide? The speech is not harassment? This is unacceptable, Ms. McGill.
I found it particularly frustrating beyond just their answers that they seem to lack compassion. So even if they needed to stick to a certain textbook answer, that they couldn't personally say that they thought this was wrong, that they're working on it. It was so dry and sterile and lacked compassion.
It did. And it was interesting. We found that each of the three university presidents, so at that point it was MIT, Penn, and Harvard, had all been prepared by the same law firm. And clearly they were given advice to, stick to the script, a very legal answer. It was not a legal question. It was a moral question. It was not a political question. And I think a lot about my constituents. And I'll tell you, of the 700,000 plus constituents I represent, they know how to answer that question correctly. And whether you take a farmer, a mom, a small business worker, without hesitation, they know the moral correct answer. So it essentially has become an example of what not to do when you testify in front of Congress, is that you have to take the questions as straightforward questions. It's not, a legal deposition. It is a question. And again, I was shocked at their response. I was expecting them to say yes. And my follow-up was going to be what disciplinary action had been taken. The book goes into not only the hearing, but it goes school by school. So it does a deep dive at Harvard, a deep dive at Penn, a deep dive at Columbia, as well as many other schools. And then importantly, the end of the book highlights schools that are getting it right, like Vanderbilt, University of Florida, Dartmouth as the standalone Ivy, who showed strong leadership. And that was a credit to the president of Dartmouth, Sion Leah Belach, who has really been the aberration when it comes to the Ivy League rot. And I say this as a Harvard graduate. It was not like that when I was an undergrad. It's been a significant slide off a cliff.